welcome. We're really excited to present today our 2021 Corporate Gift Giving webinar. It's a guide to navigating this year's holiday rush and how to plan ahead and anticipate challenges that are no doubt in front of us. I am Lynn Kingsley. I head up our Marketing and Strategic Services division here at Ironmark, and I have a team of marketers and strategists and developers that work around the clock on digital marketing campaigns for our clients. I'll tell you a little bit more about Ironmark, but that's me. And I am joined by our fabulous John Lehman, who has decades of experience, hands-on experience with some of the country's top brands and companies planning corporate gift giving, planning employee recognition programs and branded merchandise. And John and I did a similar webinar last year, but we're living in a very different world today. And so we've been asked to get back together and bring some context to what we're seeing. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Lynn. I don't know how fabulous, but certainly I do have decades of experience, and I'm always glad to be with you.
Oh, absolutely. Same here. It's going to be fun. We're really excited, and we thank all of you guys for joining us too. We have, like I said, record number of people actually attending as well. We hit a record of registrations, and we have tons and tons of people on the call today. So thank you for joining us. We're going to make it worth your while. And just to give you a little overview about Ironmark, for those of you who don't know, I know we have a lot of clients on the call who know us really well, but we're a full service marketing and production company with 170 employees, 6 business divisions, and a whole lot of heart. Many of you, like I said, are clients in print marketing, digital marketing, branding, events, website development, promotional products, e-commerce, and more. But if you do have questions, I'm always happy to answer them if you want to get in touch after this. So there's 4 parts to our agenda today. First is a look at the context in the world we live in. What is up with the COVID shipping crisis? Let's just dig into that. Next, we'll take a look at overcoming some of those challenges and setting you up with a corporate gift giving strategy that's going to save you time, aggravation, and money. And next, we'll take a look at probably what a lot of people are here today to do is look at, from a categorical perspective, what your clients and employees are hoping for this year. What are the trendiest gifts? So John will actually walk through some of this year's hottest products. And then, of course, lastly, we want to leave some time for Q&A. So I'll mention a couple of housekeeping items also. We've got Matthew on Q&A, Matthew Mentor, our senior marketing manager. He will be there if you have tech issues in the chat, or when you have questions in real time, just jot them in the Q&A, and Matthew will let us know at the end. And I wanted to let you know also that we will have a recording available, and we're going to send you a bonus corporate gift giving guide, so you'll have something to take with you. But before we get started, I wanted to launch a poll, because you guys all came to this webinar with stuff on your mind, concerns that you might be having. So let us know, what are some of your biggest concerns right now? Is it inventory and shipping concerns? Is it choosing the right gift? Is it cost and budgeting concerns? Is it getting gifts delivered on time? Maybe it's knowing the trends and understanding kind of what people want this year, not feeling prepared, or other. And if there is other, put it in the chat. I'm gonna give everybody time for putting their biggest concerns. And I think you can do multiple. So we'll just see what everybody says. What are your biggest? This is going to help us identify kind of how to tailor this presentation. There's a lot to talk about today. Gosh, it's really across the board. Okay, so I have about 65, 67% of you guys voted. We have a lot to get through today, so I'm going to. Okay, last minute, last second. Get it in there. Okay. Let's see what you guys said. Cost and budget is the biggest concern. Can you guys see that? I hope so. But it's across the board. Inventory and shipping concerns are huge. Choosing the right gift, yes, and knowing the trends. You know, and getting, you know, the shipping time, getting the gifts delivered. Any thoughts on that, John? These concerns that everybody's having.
Well, certainly, and we're going to talk about that, Lynn. There's a lot of concerns, a lot of challenges that bring, you know, they're going to come up here in this fourth quarter, and we'll talk a lot about that.
Cool. Okay, let's get to it. Thank you guys for participating in that. Okay, so let's dive in, starting with the context of the world that we live in. Mounting challenges, supply chain challenges that you've all heard about in the news articles. Every major news channel is talking about major factory shutdowns, computer chip shortages, clogged ports. They're rattling the industry as, you know, retail prepares for this season's holiday boost. It's, you know, that 8-week window that accounts for usually more than half of a retailer's annual sales. Yeah, and John, I know you're seeing this, and obviously it's related to COVID, you know, and the Delta variant and the uncertainty. What are you seeing in the industry throughout in terms of these supply chain challenges?
Well, Lynn, you know, it's really the unknown. It's really that is truly the challenge of trying to figure things out. You know, 2020 was the year that branded merchandise and promotional product suppliers became medical supply companies. I mean, we were doing PPE, it was masks and sanitizer and gloves, and, you know, to that extent, we really truly were in the medical supply business for many of us. 2021 is going to be a different year. And, you know, it's funny, this morning I was watching the news and they're talking about the trucking problems across our country, not having enough drivers. 70% of the product, and this certainly includes our industry, comes in, you know, is moved in our country by truck, not by railroad, not certainly by boats. They come from overseas by boat and there's problems there, but by trucks, and they just can't get drivers. So a year of challenges. We're going to go into this fourth quarter with inventory issues, logistics issues, serious labor issues, and then it will all affect the bottom line and, of course, pricing. You know, and we talk about that. You look here at the inventory issues, and supply chain, as you mentioned, Lynn, is so critical. And it is not, this is not a webinar to talk about or urge people to buy now because of sales issues. It's encouraging them to understand the challenges that are going to be there, that they're real. And as a partner with them, and as a great partner, we want to be able to educate them and let them know. You know, starting with the factories overseas, they have problems. Issues go right to the factories in China, to then the docks in China where they had a COVID outbreak that shut them down there. And then it comes over to the loading docks here in the country. You know, on the West Coast, the average freighter off the West Coast sitting waiting to come into port is 0 to 1. Last week, 2 weeks ago, they had 40 freighters waiting to get on into the harbor to offload. So you can see what that does, and it goes from China and all the way to our corporate loading docks here in our companies across the country. Absolutely, everyone's scrambling, and it's what we're feeling, and we know this, right? Because we work with clients all the time on that. Is what we're feeling is dramatic lengthening of transit times, which, you know, I can already see when, you know, shipping times, but also increased shipping rates, and we just have to prepare for that. I mean, that could be astronomical in our budgets. So as we kind of look at this holiday season, we have to kind of put that into context. But there's also people challenges, right? So we're all kind of, no one's really on solid ground. I think there's, you know, there's your clients are facing these challenges, your customers are facing these challenges, your employees are facing these challenges. What are you seeing from a people challenges standpoint, John? Well, you know, here again, Lynn, we are kind of the unknown. Where are we officed in Q4 of 2021? March and April had offices opening, had trade shows booming, everything going full steam ahead. And now, flash forward to September of 2021, we see the brakes being put on. And additionally, is it work from home? Is it the new acronym WFA, work from anywhere? You know, there are going to be things to consider as corporate America, as the purchasing agents, the marketing departments, as they look at how they're going to gift, how they're going to recognize, how they're going to give to their employees, to their customers, to their clients, and to their partners. It's going to be a really an unknown as it unfolds.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. We have to be prepared for all of these things. Now let's look at some trends in corporate gift giving. But before we do that, John, what we've certainly started this webinar off with a bunch of womp womps. So these are all issues. What are some things that we can do now? Obviously plan ahead, but what other things can attendees here do to anticipate this?
Well, I think the good news is there's a lot to celebrate. I mean, businesses, many have thrived, others have just by continuing their business, it's been good for them. There's a lot of really good things to work through and to celebrate and that sort of thing. So what we want to share is the need to have a plan, the need to have a strategy, the need to work with good partners in looking at what's best for ABC company, for your company, for your, whether it's a school, whether it's in healthcare, whether it's in financials, whether it's in real estate, what's going to be best for you. Cool.
Absolutely. So what we're seeing is that the industry itself is not going anywhere. In fact, it's even increasing. What is this number representing, John? How are we in context kind of looking at this $242 billion industry?
That's a huge number. And for everyone listening in and seeing that number go, wow, that's not the promotional products spend. And that is not the promotional product spend, but it is corporate gift giving, $242 billion. But you take that, Lynn, and that includes gifting. It includes the holiday parties that people are having. It includes that open bar. It includes the surf and turf. It includes a lot of different things. But now, that is the corporate spend, but you have to think with those celebrations, those President's Club trips to the Caribbean, that sort of thing, possibly being curtailed, shortened, or canceled altogether. What is going to happen with that spend? Is there going to be an opportunity to redirect some of those monies that may have been spent in a restaurant or on trips or airfares and hotels into maybe a gift giving strategy that may be applicable for your business?
Yeah, you really need to see it kind of from a 360-degree view. So what we talk about when we think about corporate giving is gifts for employees, gifts, to make your employees feel valued. This is huge this year. We thought it was huge last year, John, but this year, man, I mean, the morale might be, people are on shaky ground and people are getting sick and their family members are getting sick. So, just tell us a little bit about employees, some of that employee recognition that you see.
Well, there is, and I think that everyone realizes and knows how important it is to recognize employees, to let them know how much you care about them, how much you appreciate them, know that some of them are in an uncomfortable situation, whether it's working remotely, whether it's possibly coming into the office. There's a lot of different things and people feel different ways about it. But, it's important to be able to let them know how much and how important they are to their individual companies. And in that gifting to employees, again, is the understanding of how that distribution is going to go. Because as we talk about working remotely and having to ship product to home, it isn't like the days that we shipped a box of 150 cell phone chargers, let's say, to this loading dock at a company and they're distributed to the employees. You have employees all over the place. So you have to understand, and that creativity of how you're going to get it, what it's going to look like, how it's going to be packaged. All of those parts of the recipe are the differentiators of a successful gift giving process.
Absolutely. The who, what, where, when, it's all there. And then, of course, corporate gift giving we usually think of as gifts for your clients, right? Maybe in the holiday season, thanking them for being a customer, thanking them for being part of your growth. So clients too, are in all different places. So again, it's still that kind of who, what, where, when. Have you developed lists for where your clients are working these days? I mean, people are working from home. John, I know you talk about this all the time. So
yeah, and Lynn, it is, and I think that we have talked about internally, and you and I personally have talked about the gifting for clients and the need for companies like us. We have a vast group of experts that are out there representing our company and going out and working with customers and clients. But I think of our group really as experts, not salespeople. And what I think is important is that we aren't a salesperson at this time, that we are a partner with those people that we're working with, that we truly partner with them and help them to be able to thank their employees, thank their clients, thank their customers, thank their prospects, to consider all of that and make them better and let them say thank you to the people that are around them.
it's such a good point. That is truly where this is coming from. It's got to come from that kind of grateful heart and that partnership angle. I totally agree. So some of the trends that we're seeing, John, you're in this day in, day out with your team and your experts. So what kind of trends are we seeing in terms of what's kind of hot this year? We're going to dig into this a little bit further, but there's some interesting stuff here.
Well, there really is, and again, it kind of goes into this the differences and the diversity of where people are and that sort of thing. There are huge and critical movements going on in corporate America. First of all, where people are working, whether it's outdoor items that may be applicable, whether it's home life items, personal in the house, whether it's tech items. Tech items are always functional, useful, practical, and cost effective, and certainly serve a purpose. And again, in that WFA, work from anywhere, people need all kinds of different things.
Love that, yeah. Yeah,
I'm sorry?
I love that WFA, work from anywhere, because it's true.
And so, one of the things too that we've talked a lot about is the need to support a lot of the initiatives and the messages that are being shared in corporate America that are very critical and very on time and part of the societal of today and what's going on. And so we're seeing, and we've had the opportunity to work with a lot of our customers to support and to reinforce the initiatives. And when I say initiatives, it's initiatives such as sustainability. You hear that all the time. People want to work with, talk about sustainability, about eco-friendly. They want to know whether products are eco-friendly. And really top of mind are some of the societal initiatives of inclusivity, racial equity, minority focus, and all are the top of mind of companies. And we here, at Ironmark, and we get asked this all the time by our partners, is who are we working with? But we really make an effort, and we can make a concerted effort to work with factories and vendors that, again, support these initiatives. So that when a customer comes to us and says, hey, are you doing this? We're not only doing it at Ironmark, we are using vendors and partnering with people that, again, support those same initiatives of eco, of sustainability, and all of the inclusiveness and the equities and that sort of thing. Really important this year.
It's amazing kind of what 2020, what the last 12 months have done from a social issue perspective, and seeing that manifest in your corporate gift giving strategy. I wouldn't have predicted that 12 months ago. At the end of the year also brings about award season, right? Chambers of commerce and associations are recognizing excellence in their industry. And some of these events, are events back on? Are they virtual? Are they hybrid? So, having that opportunity to maybe, split where you're sending these gifts or awards is, another wrinkle this year to think about, because some people are going to be at their desks, some people are going to be at the event. What are you seeing in terms of the award shows this year?
Well, awards and you really kind of bring awards in with gifting. And they're so important. Again, that employee appreciation, and whether it's an attaboy and a big, pat on the back for someone, whether it's incentive awards for achievement, whether it's just recognition, it may be as simple as a thank you. We have so many things. Service awards, of course, don't forget that this is the end of the year. Certainly that's typically the time that the service awards, 1 year, 5 year, 10 years, 15 years with companies and on is recognized. And there's so many great, there's never a bad time to give anyone an award or a thank you. But awards, this is the time of year to really be thinking about that, and then potentially being able to tie them together with the holiday gift giving and kind of make it to, put it all together. And there's a lot of really neat things that we may talk about in a little bit, Lynn, is the way we present now awards, as you said, because it's not that big award banquet. It doesn't look like for 2021 that we're going to be crowding into the auditorium for a big award banquet, but it may be a little bit more remote.
Bummer. I was hoping for that. I was hoping for live events being back on, but we're not quite there yet. So a lot of people on the webinar today shared that their biggest concerns were related to budget and timing. So we've prepared a section that relates to putting your strategy together and seeing that through the implementation. So it really does start with a strategy, like any camp. It's the who, what, where, when. So thinking about keeping your employees, whether it's keeping your employees motivated or whether it's showing love to your customers or clients, looking at new gifting opportunities like we're going to be doing today. I mean, it starts today. How you're going to be able to innovate this year, how you're showing value in those relationships. So I know we have a lot to talk about on the strategy side. John, do you want to kick us off here?
Yeah, I think that we'll talk about a little bit of the specs and the ABCs of it. But I think one of the important things, one of the important things, or a couple of them, are one is communication. It's got to be communicated to our partners, to our customers, to our clients, and to our prospects about the issues of the holiday coming and the gifting at this time of year, because it's going to be like no other. Unfortunately, it's going to be tough. And then flexibility. I think we've got to be flexible in everything, whether it's budget, whether it's delivery specs, because that's going to dictate budget significantly. So just being, those two things are really important: communication and flexibility.
Oh, absolutely. And here's some of the specifications that you mentioned. But, I've been in the marketing role, many marketing roles internally, where I've gone online and went to purchase a gift, a set of gifts or a set of branded, a large quantity branded merchandise. And I just kind of upload my logo, cross my fingers, and hope that I'm getting the right thing. I've had board members come to me and be like, the URL is not large enough. Whereas, when you work with a partner that has a team like yours, John, where you guys know the vendors and you know what the shipping times are, it really does help. I've learned being here at Ironmark that if clients can talk to you about what their big picture goals are and any kind of like limitations around it, and basically these specs, you could put together a program that is on budget and is on time.
Absolutely. And you don't want to make it sound like it's just so simple, but truly it is, Lynn. And these specifications here, these fill in the blanks, literally will allow our experts, our team, to provide a solution and a strategy that really fits. So they're simple, but if you can answer these simple questions and talk about that and discuss that with your partners, you're going to have the opportunity to bake a cake that is just perfect. It really is that simple. There are not a lot of them, but it's just the ABCs of it. In this case, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G probably, but nonetheless, there it is. And if we can get that information, our opportunity and the percent of success is just multiplied.
Yeah, and I've seen you take, you need all these specifications, specifically numbers and stuff, but I've seen you take it from, ask the really good questions with clients, like put yourself in the shoes of the recipient. is it a sales force that's on the go, that's in their car? Maybe they need a car mechanic kit. Is it a wedding venue that is giving gifts out to brides, and the brides that need to keep track of stuff, like putting things, that kind of like big picture, like who are they and what is their, what are they doing? All of that information to give to the team, they can come up with some really creative ideas. I've seen it. Let's talk about timing. Obviously, we're kind of heading into holiday season. We're about a month earlier than we did this webinar last year because of all the issues we talked about. And though the holiday season is the obvious time when people are thinking about gift giving, there are certainly other times of the year that are an interesting and maybe a little less expected times to thank your employees or thank your customers. And hey, if the shipping trends go the way they do, your Christmas gifts or your holiday Hanukkah gifts might turn into Valentine's Day gifts before you know it. But going out thinking about these kind of interesting different ones times of year is a different approach.
Yeah, there's certainly, and you and I again have talked as we got ready for this about these different times, and there really is not a bad time. I mean, any of us, when is it a bad time for someone to put an arm around us or pat us on the back and say, really, I appreciate what you're doing. We appreciate you. And so there's really not a time that is bad. And you can see there's the Hallmark holidays that we all have, and we can find a Hallmark holiday pretty much every day of the week, I think. But at the same time, it's understanding what you want to do, how you want to send the message. And again, it goes back to that point of flexibility, because really, as you jokingly said, those holiday gifts may become more timely as Valentine gifts because of some of the challenges, but that's okay. I think that, whether it gets there over the holiday or the message gets delivered in February because of different issues, flexibility has got to be understood and accepted on the giver's side as well as the recipient side. And I think that's kind of the way we are living right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you get to ask the question, like, what are the lead times for holiday? Like, when do I get started? And I know it'll probably vary, won't it, based on the product that we're, in question, but
good
there a general
question, Lynn, that's an incredible question, because what I was just talking to a partner earlier today and letting them know what we used to be able to do in 3 days is now at least 3 weeks. And it doesn't differ a whole lot from what the challenges are. You had talked about container costs right when we opened up this webinar. Container costs are 10 times what they were a year and a half ago. But literally, I mean, our times are just expanding as far as production because of the labor issues. So even though the inventory may be in the facility, even though they're able to decorate it, the time to do it is just multiplied, unfortunately, in a bad way.
Yikes. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite subject, budgeting. How do we set this budget? So, I've been coming from the marketer standpoint, or, from the company standpoint, I have a budget, right? So I have a number that maybe we're thinking for employee recognition or for corporate giving this year. But that's not necessarily the budget that I need to give to a partner, right? I understand it's really, if you understand a per person or per gift, can you talk a little bit about how to translate sort of like a marketing budget into a budget that we could actually move forward and plan?
I think just like the specs, Lynn, the budget is so detailed now. And again, not to just infinite detail, but important to put all the pieces together. Again, that 150 phone charges used to land at the loading dock and was distributed. And you know what you had to know was the cost of the charger and to get the big box there. Now you have a lot of different things to consider, and you've got to be very specific, and you've got to be inclusive of all the specs and the potential costs of them. Because those specs now are, do we have to ship it at home? What's the packaging going to need? What is there going to need protective packaging because we're shipping one mug instead of a box of them that are in a big protected box? Are we going to tissue paper? Are we going to gift wrap it? A lot of different things. So the budget is really something you have to look at. And again, you have to be very understanding of what you want to do and how you want to get it, because those specs and those are going to bring potential, not potential, are going to bring added costs.
Yeah, and I guess the quantities that people are ordering, larger quantities, the more you get to this sort of like perceived value versus actual value and the actual gift, because we're ordering in bigger quantities, maybe the perceived value for this, Bluetooth speaker might be $50, but in reality, we can get it for much, much less potentially.
Yeah, no question about that. I mean, those savings and those equations are still there. It's just kind of the different the distribution issues that kind of really are going to wreak a little havoc on your budget.
Yeah, absolutely. So taking the budget from the marketing plan that you have for corporate gift giving or for employee recognition, and then identifying like those specifications that we had on a couple slides ago, how many people you have, doing a little quick division to come up with a per person or a per gift will give us a lot more, give your partner kind of a lot more information about how exactly to plan that for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, sorry, we spent a lot of time on that because I know it's a big concern for people, but kitting and packaging, I mean, this is something that we don't really, I hadn't really thought of before working with you, John. The presentation of the gift itself could mean so much more to someone than even the gift, because they're getting something and it's exciting to open. So you want to make sure that perceived value is there, and that the notion of that aligns with your brand and the quality of the relationship.
Well, it really does, and as you can see, and we just talked about how this affects budget, but you can see, and some of the items that are to be considered are things like a message, a note card. Is there going to be a holiday card from the CEO of the company or from your boss? Is there going to be wrapping paper? Is there going to be some kind of a sticker? There's a lot of different things, and all of them bring a higher perceived value in some cases. And then in others, you just got to kind of weigh on whether the juice is worth the squeeze. Is the extra cost, is the perception, worth the extra cost that you have to do? And that will change from company to company.
Absolutely. The devil's in the details there. Sometimes, you send this amazing gift, but it's just rattling around the box there. And great. Like, this is a great time to talk about the different categories that you've seen are hot this year. So, every year, right, there's a couple of gifts that fly off the shelves, and we're already seeing that because people are ordering earlier. So I think the first one might be my favorite, the backyard gifts. We've seen these solo stoves really be popular this year. Why is that, John? Is it people are spending more time at home and they just want to be?
Well, it is. It goes back to that our work from anywhere. And, people do appreciate things. I mean, everybody's at home working. They're spending time in their yards. They're spending time in their homes. You look at the cornhole games. And I think a couple of things. One is people are spending a lot of time at home. But I also think that gifts that are involve the family are really cool gifts to give and really cool gifts to receive. Because, when dad goes to work or mom goes to work, guess what? The whole family is part of that project. And they all do it together. So it's really neat to do things. And we'll see some other items that apply to that as well. But I think anytime we can do something that everybody can enjoy together, and these gifts can work in your backyard, but they can work if you're living in a tent out in the canyon as well.
Absolutely. I always say if my 7-year-old could say the name of a company on a branded merchandise product like this, they've won. as they're roasting their s'mores, right? So also meeting and events. This makes me a little bit sad because I definitely thought there would be more in-person events this year. But still, this category seems to be still taking off because maybe people are thinking about people who are virtual matching the gifts, the gift bags and stuff for people that are actually attending the conference if it's hybrid.
Yeah, and I kind of close my eyes and just hope that we're going to have that again. We looked in March and April. We were, just great guns ready for meetings and events in mass and, and games and events just going on, totally. And now, with those breaks are being put on a little bit. So with that, I think that we all have to be prepared, both, corporate America and our industry have to be prepared again, communicate, and be flexible is going to be incredibly important, because these things, they don't give you a whole lot of a heads up when they cancel that trade show, they cancel that event, they cancel that meeting. So you got to be prepared to be nimble and to, to be able to move in another direction quickly.
Another creative option is to create your own sort of bark box or subscription box or Ipsy box. You're taking the off of the trends that subscription boxes have taken off. Everyone loves to get those. So maybe creating your own kind of, for your own company, a little custom box with some various gifts in it might be a great idea. What are you seeing there, John?
And certainly, as the graphic shows, I mean, that's kitting and using boxes, but those boxes, as you see there, can be decorated and can be personalized to the nth degree. I mean, there is no stopping on the capabilities of our partners and our factories to have that a complete wrap as a box, to have your name on it, Lynn. Happy holidays, Lynn. Hope it's a great one. And then the next one to have happy holidays, John. I hope you enjoy it. I mean, the flexibility and the digital capabilities are just infinite and incredible.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I didn't even think of that. Variable data that's printed right on the box makes it feel that so much more personalized. I didn't even think of that. That is so cool. I want one. Can you send a box down? Says happy holidays, Lynn.
Yes, ma'am.
With some technology, of course. Everybody likes technology, right? This category is certainly not going anywhere. Anything new that you're seeing here this year? This was on the list last year too.
I think there's, technology is always improving and getting better and getting sharper, those things. But it's still, phone chargers, wireless phone chargers, outdoor speakers, and now you're seeing waterproof outdoor speakers that people can feel comfortable being around the water and the pool and that sort of thing with. Of course, the AirPods, you go anywhere and people, are walking around the community in AirPods, they're going in the gym with their AirPods, they're on Zoom meetings with their AirPods. So technology is getting better. The gifts are still there. And I think they increase in practicality and value all the time.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody wants to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the actual Apple ones, and certainly not non-Apple users, but we got those last year for Ironmark's employees, and my daughter loves them. And the imprint area is really nice on there, so you've got your brand right there as well.
They're great.
Really? Really?
Wow.
We're still talking about PPE. I guess we are.
Well,
Thanks,
and this takes us back to last year, but it is reality. I'm working on a couple projects right now, and all of them have asked to include something in this PPE area, whether it's just a mask, and just because they want to recognize that, hey, this is real, has not gone away completely, and that they respect it. So, I think we've got to be prepared to still have that. Hopefully we're not going into the gowns and the medical masks needed, and a lot of the gloves, that sort of thing. But still, the masks are going to be there, hand sanitizers, wipes, those sort of things. So we need to be prepared. And I think you're going to see, companies, schools, events needing help in this area again.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, it's what people want and need right now. Apparel and accessories. So this is like your Under Armour, your Nike, like you can get as high-end brands as you want to align your brand with quality, or there's other kind of brands that are less known and maybe more value, but still good performance wear.
Yeah, of course, Lynn, all the high-end brands, Under Armour's and Nikes, but they are, and you know what? We have the ability to provide our partners and customers and prospects and everyone that good, better, best, because there really is. There are those branded items, those high-end brands, but there's also a good and a better on your way up there. And the difference between price is and can be significant. The difference in performance can be minimal. So there's a lot of value there. And again, it takes that communication to understand the budget of the customer, what they're looking for, and then you can make matches for it.
Absolutely. On the go, right? These are kind of travel items that you can work from anywhere. This is a hot category, I know.
Certainly, and it doesn't, and this is certainly just a glimpse of, of the many, many, many items that are on that go, that work from anywhere mentality. We can provide items that will fit in there, and again, will fit any budget. Get us the specs. We can put strategies and solutions in front of you quickly.
And this is a great category when you're really thinking about what is my recipient doing on a regular basis. If they're just sitting here working from home, maybe not on the go, but if they're in the car, they're going back and forth from home in the office and that kind of thing, it's a great one. And this also goes back to that trend on adventure, right? That kind of adventurous we saw in the beginning.
Sure. That outdoor.
Yeah, and of course, home office, right?
Yep, lots of good stuff there. Office items. You can pull in a lot of other items. Certainly, you see the blanket, but there's really so many things when people are working from home. And again, it kind of goes back to that slide that showed the fireplace and the cornhole, those sort of things. When you have home office and you're working from home, it really opens it up. And there's a lot of really neat things that you can source, that you can send, that you can, that are really practical and functional for that person that has that home office.
Absolutely. Now, I'm used to seeing drinkware with stuff like this and stuff like this, these kind of drinkware. What's going on here?
Well, I think that this goes back to a little bit of a slide that we kind of glanced on, and that's, those meetings and events that are going to be done remotely, and awards. Go back to awards and award celebrations. So what we've seen, and we've had really a lot of participation in this, is customers and partners reaching out to us saying, hey, we're going to have our award ceremony remotely, but what we want to send is a tumbler or a glass that someone could pour themselves a drink, or a bowl that they can put their favorite snack in, their favorite candies in, so that we can have some sort of a festive atmosphere to this remote event. So, we're seeing a lot of that, and, gifting in those areas as people are working from home and doing meetings from home and having celebrations from home. It's become a little bit of a different, because I too was always used to the, double walled, Yeti-like tumbler that would go from my kitchen to my office and back to my kitchen. So lots of neat things.
Absolutely. That made me think of, maybe it's wishful thinking, and this is something else you do, invite me to a wine tasting, but I could picture doing like for your awards event, if it's remote, like doing maybe a wine tasting or a scotch tasting and sending these nice glasses. That would be, I could see that that trend absolutely taking off. So that's your homework, John. Make me a box, my name on it, and invite me to a scotch tasting. Thanks. Lounge homeware. We saw a lot of this last year with people spending the holidays at home. We might see that again this year.
Yep, lots more. Blankets are always cool. It's, again, I like those items because they're family oriented. You can, couples, the kids, everybody can crawl on the sofa and get under a blanket. So there's a lot of really neat things. And again, let's talk and let's understand what corporate America is looking for, and we have a solution.
That's awesome. And then watches. I was surprised to see this on the hot list this year. This is the last one.
And watches are, again, it's a timely area. It's a way that companies can brand. You see watches used a lot in award programs and awarding, that sort of thing. So, but certainly something that is, is top of mind sometimes with companies, and a good way to get your brand on somebody's wrist and get a lot of exposures.
That's awesome. Okay, great. It's show and tell time, John. Are you ready to share some of the season's finest and most popular gifts?
Good.
That's great. So yeah, show us some stuff, John. I know you have a bunch of stuff behind her. I'm gonna try to see only you. Matthew, can you give me a thumbs up if you can only see John?
So guys, when we talked about gifting and gifting in digital ways. So, we have, just so I want everybody to know that this is a kind of combination of a food, an edible tray, but also with tumblers that can be put in here. Really anything can be kitted, and we can kit them with one of our food vendors, our food partners, and other partners, and kit stuff together. So it's really gives us a lot of flexibility. I'm gonna spend a little time on that kitting, because again, you look at a real nice 20-pack cooler, But when you're doing something with a cooler, not only is that an incredibly functional item for working at home, for outdoors, for anything, but gives you the opportunity to kit so many different items, so many things. Here's a flashlight that went in there with a tumbler. Here's a tumbler that has the capability of multiple color all over imprint, full color. So the items and the opportunity to put items in here and include, of course, we can include wearables, apparel, that sort of thing in any of our gifting. Certainly bags are a great thing. Duffel bags, again, a great way to kit. We can, get a pack of duffel bag with anything. A really good way for packaging as well, because you can do a lot of insulating and you can put drinkware and glassware and things like that in there. Go to technology. Technology, this many people will recognize as a phone sanitizer. What a great item. People are really hot on this item. They like it. A great imprint area. And a lot of people are using this not only to sanitize their phone, because this is also a phone charger. While it's sanitizing, it cleans your phone and charges. But people are putting their car keys in there, their watches, their jewelry, things like that to sanitize them and clean them. Again, in technology, I mean, we all are looking to plug in ultimate things and charge them. So, multiple USB chargers are really great. And, I could go on and on and on. Packaging, drinkware is always, it still is something that the companies look for. And there are those drinkwares that you're used to seeing, Lynn, the insulated tumbler, the swell style bottle that is, double wall insulated. So there's just so many things. Awards that we do, things like this, like acrylics. That's really, this is just an acrylic base, but can be personalized, can have any kind of awarding on it. So there's really the ends are there's infinite. Umbrellas, everybody's seen the reversible umbrella, the one you come in and it reverses so that the water doesn't go all over. So
I love that umbrella.
We just have so many solutions, Lynn, and to everybody to really understand what you need, understand what your budget is, understand what your shipping and fulfillment needs are, and we can really come up with great ideas to meet your needs and exceed your expectations.
That's awesome. And we're not too late right now for holiday, but we're getting there, is what I understand.
Too late for holiday?
Yeah.
No, we're not too late for holiday, or we're getting too late. It's not too early for holiday.
Right.
Again, with as we've talked about the production challenges, the inventory challenges. This is the time. I can't expand upon enough that this is really the time to start thinking about what you're going to do and getting orders in so we can reserve inventory. We have the capabilities of, hey, you want to get your order in, but you don't have any place to store product. We can store product and drop ship it on, so that it arrives exactly when you want it. But it is really going to be important to get your hands and get your name on inventory and get your name in those production schedules.
Yeah, thanks for that. That's great, John. That's helpful. Okay, so I'm ready to open up to questions. Matthew, were there questions that came through during the webinar?
There was, Lynn. One attendee asked, can you talk a little bit about the third-party shippers like FedEx and UPS and the delays they are having? There seems to be that they're not really meeting their standard shipping times. And what is Ironmark doing to mitigate those issues?
Well, that's a good question. And fortunately, that's one of the things that we have seen improving a little bit is the schedules being met for the carriers. And with that relationship, certainly we're a priority company with them because of all the logistics that we do. So we've got that down really, really well. Of course, all of the items, whether it's a card or a package that's going to a home, or whether it's a box, or a large box or crates going to a loading dock somewhere, we have tracking on every single thing that goes out of our building and can provide, up to date, minute by minute, real-time tracking for our customers and partners.
And one of the things that we are doing to answer that question, to mitigate it, is this. So communicating to you guys, communicating to our clients that you have to book early if you want to make that holiday window. I can't stress that enough. So from a communication standpoint, we're really trying to get out to as many clients as possible, just to encourage people to book early, because they're really going to miss it if we get to, we can't place orders in December 1st anymore.
No, for sure.
We had another question, Lynn. If we pick out items, can we get samples before we purchase?
And that's a great question, and it's so important that you know what you're going to receive and understand the quality of it, making sure it represents the quality of your company. Make sure that whether it's a piece of apparel that it washes, dries, and wears well, whether it's a bag that it's of the kind of hardware that you need on it, that sort of thing. So the answer to that question from us is absolutely. Samples we can get to you, we can get them to you quickly. Samples have no cost, and samples really don't need to be returned. So again, it gives you that opportunity to, if it's a piece of apparel, to wear it, to wash it, to make sure it performs the way you want. If it's a technology item, make sure that the performance is what you expect, then that it meets your expectations or exceeds them.
Yeah, because it is. You want to be able to, especially if it's for your high-end clients, you want to be able to feel it and touch it. That's great. So we don't charge anything for that, John. There's no charge for customers to see samples.
Typically, it really isn't, Lynn, and we work with our partners in the factories that, again, they as much as we do want the opportunity to work with corporate America, and they're good supporters of our philosophy on that.
Fantastic. Any other questions?
One more that came in. What are some, you had mentioned diversity and inclusion. What are some products that reinforce that message?
Well, that's another great question, because what we're seeing, and again, this is from practicality and from real life of working with companies that are initiating, equity programs and inclusivity programs. And all of these areas have, different themes, different bullet points, different things that are really important to their programs. So what we've been able to do is identify products and means that we can reinforce those highlighted items for the programs. So, for example, and here's a good example right here. For example, a company that has I don't know whether you can see this, Roy, it's up, and maybe you can't, but it's a Post-it note, and where the company has the ability to digitally change every single page on the Post-it note. So it continues to reinforce new messages, every note that they take off. So just items like that. The edible program that I showed you in the box, the edible program can have different, different message on every single container within the same shipment. So that's incredible, and it enables companies to be able to do that and to be able to reinforce their message that is so important. This is such an important time with HR people and that sort of those, and leadership in companies, that these messages are embraced and followed in their companies.
We just have one more message that came in. Can personalized note cards be put on the brand merchandising pieces to make it a little bit more personal?
Sure. I mean, certainly can include it in the packaging. I mean, yeah, that's one of those things that builds specs. So if it's if it's a digital, that it's going to go on the actual packaging, like we talked about, or if it's just a note card that goes into the kitting of it, that is certainly part of our kind of exploratory, questions of what we need to understand.
What's nice about, little plug for Ironmark here as chief marketer here, but what's nice about Ironmark is we do have full print production capabilities. So along with whatever you're sending in the box, you can do personalized note cards. You could do flyers or anything else, tickets, anything else that you need to stick in the box. Like John said, it'll be part of the kitting, but we could certainly produce it for you here.
Good.
Well, great. Well, I think that's all. That's all the questions, Matthew.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about the echo, guys. I realize there's been a little bit of echo issues, but we're on the last slide here. So next step, get in touch with us if you're ready to kind of think about this. Come to us with some of those specifications. We'll be, you can sign up to talk to John or even your Ironmark account rep, whoever that might be. John works alongside those account reps to make sure that his team of experts is part of that and providing input to your work there. So we could definitely work with you on that. Here's a URL to go to if you just want to just sign up for a time, or just send us a note that says you want to get a time on the calendar with John and potentially your Ironmark rep. We have a team of experts, don't we, John? You have a bunch of great people behind you that know these vendors and are able to get as much leeway and flexibility as they can in the current context of where we're living.
We do, and we're excited to work with the people that we're privileged to work with, and encourage anyone to reach out. And I think, to have a strategy, to have a plan is so important, to be able to have some of those questions answered. And the only thing that is something is not part of our DNA normally is there truly is a sense of urgency right now. There really is, something that we really kind of say, you can't do this early enough. Because it's going to be a tough fourth quarter to get our arms around production and inventories and ensure success for all of us. Yep,
absolutely. We had a question at the end here as well that will you receive this presentation? Absolutely. So you'll get a follow-up email today with information with the slide deck here. Probably maybe tomorrow on the recording here. For those who are here, and also for those who registered and weren't able to make it. And then also we're going to send you the bonus corporate gift giving guide for the season, which has a lot of product information that we talked about today, and specifications and stuff to get you started. So don't wait. Absolutely begin your project now. And because you're here, I feel like you've already done that. So congrats to everyone. Thank you so much. And we hope you have a great holiday season, a great gift giving season, and please stay in touch with us. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Lynn.